This is the third video in the video series that brings information about Egyptian civilization. This video discusses some of the major dynasties of the Pyramid period, their notable rulers and the buildings they built, especially the pyramids. Pyramid Age or Ancient Age belong to which time period in Egypt?
The period of Egypt's history from the First Dynasty to the Sixth Dynasty, i.e. from 3100 BC to 2181 BC, is considered as the ancient period. Some researchers divide this period of nearly 1,000 years into another two additional eras. Accordingly, the period from 3100 BC to 2686 BC, which is the reign of the First Dynasty and the Second Dynasty, is named as the Old Dynastic Era. The period from 2686 BC to 2181 BC, which is the period from the Third Dynasty to the Sixth Dynasty, is also classified as the Old Kingdom period.
Who was the Egyptian ruler who united Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt and created one kingdom for the first time?
Manetho says that it was King Menes who united Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt and created one kingdom for the first time. According to Herodotus' account and the papyrus document, the first ruler of United Egypt was Menes. It is believed that King Menes invaded and conquered Lower Egypt. King Menes initially ruled from the city of Thinis near Abydos. Later, after the unification of Egypt, he made the city of Memphis his capital, at a crossroads where he could direct the rule of both Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. Herodotus says that he built a dam on the Nile above Memphis. It is believed that King Menes not only unified the country, but also set up a system of rules and a governance structure necessary for a centralized government that could govern this large area.
Where was the King Narmer's palette found?
In 1898 AD, a very important palette was found in the area of Hierakonpolis that provides evidence of the unification of Egypt. On one side of the panel known as the Narmer palette, King Narmer is shown hitting an enemy with a club, and on the other side, the enemies are fleeing. On the other side, the king is shown coming in triumph, and below, two men are seen holding the necks of two long-necked creatures. Also, on one side of the panel the king is wearing the white crown, the symbol of Upper Egypt, and on the other side, the red crown, symbol of Lower Egypt. Based on these factors, it is believed that the Narmer palette symbolizes the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt. It is also accepted that the ruler and namer, who were called Menes, are not two but one.
How many kings belong to the First and Second Dynasty in Egypt?
According to Manetho, the reign of King Menes was 60 years. 8 other rulers belonged to his dynasty. It is accepted that the rule of this dynasty lasted from 3050 to 2890 BC. According to Manetho, the Second Dynasty had 9 kings. The Turin Papyrus and the Saqqara list also confirm it. The First and Second Dynasties seem to have ruled Egypt from about 3100 to 2686 BC, but the amount of information available in literature about these two dynasties is very little.
What important information has been revealed about the First and Second Dynasties?
Tombs belonging to some kings of the First Dynasty have been found at Saqqara and Abydos. In the tombs of the King's Den and Ka from Abydos, the name of Horus was added before the king's name. Horus became a powerful god in Egypt in later times. It shows that the attribution of divinity to royalty took place in the early dynastic period itself. Archaeological research has revealed important information about the culture that existed at this time. Many tombs belonging to this period have been found in areas such as Abydos, Saqqara, Helwan, and Memphis in Egypt. Tombs of kings have also been found among them.
What was called Mastaba in Egypt?
A notable feature of the First and Second Dynastic periods was the construction of mastabas over the tombs of kings and nobles. A brick platform-like structure standing high above the tombs was called a mastaba. These monuments, which look like a bench in the distance, are called Mastaba in Arabic, meaning eternal home. The mastaba is the first example of a technique that influenced later pyramid construction. As the Egyptians hoped for a divine life after death since ancient times, they created tombs to store the dead body of the deceased without any outside trouble. During the First and Second Dynasties, in addition to the tombs with several rooms built underground, a structure like a platform was built with bricks to stand high on the ground surface in order to protect the place from sun, rain, and wind. If the deceased was a noble person like a king, many rooms were built in the tomb and the body was buried in a separate chamber with great respect.
Who was the notable ruler of the Third Dynasty in Egypt?
The Pyramid Age begins with the Third Dynasty. According to the Turin Papyrus and the Abydo State Register, the number of rulers of the Third Dynasty is 5. The most prominent ruler of this dynasty is Djoser. He is also called Djoser. He established the royal court in the city of Memphis. He ruled Egypt for 29 years. King Djoser built a mastaba in Abydos according to the tradition that existed until then, and a large step pyramid was built for himself in Saqqara. In King Djoser's cabinet was a great architect named Imhotep, who was also the king's chief advisor. According to his instructions, the step pyramid and its related premises have been created. The step pyramid was another step forward in the mastaba technology that preceded it and is the second phase of the Great Pyramid construction technology. The lower part of this step pyramid of Djoser has the form of a mastaba.
Who started the tradition of the stone pyramid in Egypt?
According to Manetho, the tradition of building stone buildings in Egypt was started by Djoser. Archaeological research has found that the construction of buildings using stone existed even before that. But there is no doubt that the construction of large buildings using stone began with Djoser.
How many kings were there from the Fourth Dynasty of Egypt?
The Fourth Dynasty had 9 rulers. The first ruler, Sneferu, led an army against Nubia. Also, he has brought valuable wood such as cedar by maintaining trade relations with Syria and Lebanon. He built 2 valuable pyramids for himself, one of which is named the Red Pyramid. Apart from this, he is also reported to have built several small pyramids. Succeeding Sneferu, Khufu Cheops is the most notable ruler of the Fourth Dynasty. Khufu was the son of the previous ruler, King Sneferu. There are some contradictions among the sources about his reign. According to the Turin Papyrus, Khufu's reign was 23 years. Herodotus says Khufu's reign was 50 years and Manetho says it was 63 years. According to archaeological evidence, it is accepted that the reign period is more suitable to be considered as 23 years. After Khufu, the kings belonging to the Fourth Dynasty ruled Egypt, and the rulers Rajadef and Menkora are particularly prominent among them. Rajadef's reign lasted 8 years. During that time, he built a pyramid for himself at Abrosh, a few miles southwest of Giza. The third largest pyramid at Giza was built by King Menkora, who ruled Egypt for 29 years.
Who built the Great Pyramid at Giza?
The largest and most famous of all the pyramids, the Great Pyramid at Giza, was built by Sneferu's son, Khufu, known also as Cheops, the later Greek form of his name. Covering an area of 13 acres, this 481 feet tall pyramid is considered to be the oldest large stone creation in the world. About 2,300,000 individual stone blocks weighing between 2 to 15 tons each were used to build this pyramid. That way, you can imagine how much human labor has been used to break the stones, transport them to the relevant place and build the pyramid. Herodotus says that it took 10 years to build the road for this pyramid and 20 years to build the pyramid. But if Khufu's reign was 23 years, Herodotus's period must be less than that. In addition to the Great Pyramid, Khufu had another pyramid built at Giza, which was only 10 feet lower than the Great Pyramid. Khufu's funerary temple was built east of the Great Pyramid and facing it. To the southeast of the Great Pyramid, 3 smaller pyramids were built for his queens.